In this program, we will step back in time to learn about some historic homes and buildings in Halfmoon that have survived through 2 centuries and can give us a glimpse of the past, even in 2020. You may recognize this distinctive Greek Revival-style building right off Route 9 just north of the Crescent Bridge. It was built in 1842 by entrepreneur Alfred Noxon for his Farmers Bank of Saratoga County. At the time, this was an unusual combination of commercial space built side by side with a residence. This elegant building has been on the National Register of Historic Places since 2003. Here we see the bank about 1910. Notice the residence portion of the building off to the right side. To the left of the bank, we can see the old Crescent Hotel, long since demolished, probably to make way for the widening of Route 9 when the Crescent Bridge was built. Today, Noxon's Bank is a multi-family home with many of the original features, such as wrought iron railings and the walk-in bank vault, which now serves as a pantry for the present owner. Around the corner from the Noxon Bank building is Churchill Road, which rises up along the Mohawk River. This house, at 90 Churchill, built about 1830, may also have been built by Alfred Noxon, who was instrumental in settling the Crescent hamlet of Halfmoon. Later it became a summer home for Miss Alice Van Hosen, who was a teacher in New York City. In this photo, from about the turn of the century, a gentleman and a lady, possibly Miss Alice herself, sits on the wide veranda overlooking the Mohawk River. This house remains in private hands today. A little further along Churchill Road is Oak Cliff House, built by New York State Senator Duncan McMartin, Jr. in 1835 as a summer home. In 1841, Senator McMartin's daughter, Elizabeth, married Truman G. Younglove, an engineer and politician. Elizabeth died in 1846, and 4 years later Truman married her sister Jane. Younglove was in charge of the construction of the dam and canal system at Cohoes, which powered the cotton mills there. It was one of his excavations that uncovered the bones of the Cohoes mastodon. Younglove and his family lived in this house from 1850 to 1882. That may well be them posing on the rear porch of the house with a view of the river. He served in the state assembly, becoming speaker in 1869. During his time, it is believed that 4 U.S. presidents slept in this home: Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James A. Garfield, and Chester Alan Arthur. Presumably not all at the same time. Here we see this stately home more than 100 years after the previous photo. The top image shows the front or street view, and the bottom one shows the rear view facing the river. As of 2015, this house is being run as a bed and breakfast hotel, with much more historical information available about it on the hotel's website. This home is also on the National Register of Historic Places. Continuing up Churchill Road, we find the Octagon House, built in 1852. Once part of a thriving farmstead, this interestingly shaped home has many elements of Victorian design. The original main entrance faced the Mohawk River and Erie Canal. What a great view of the river, canal, and the Crescent Aqueduct they must have had, as do the current owners today. Dating from 1795, this sprawling home on the north side of Churchill Road was owned by Irving and Mabel Van Duzen Taylor in the early 1900s. Mr. Taylor was a farmer, a merchant, and the owner of a family-operated sawmill. Today, this imposing home on 21 acres is little changed, still occupied, and looks awfully good for 225 years old. Left of the Taylor house, the old Taylor barn, built in the 1840s, is still standing as well. In the picture on the left, we see a young woman feeding her flock of chickens in front of the barn sometime around the mid-1900s, and on the right, the barn as it appears today. Moving west of Route 9, this brick home, built around 1800 and located at 69 Canal Road near White's Lane, was at one time the Cold Springs Canal Store, owned by Bertus Freeman. Freeman supplied groceries, spring water, and other goods for the canal boatmen. Often the owner or clerk slept on a cot in the store in order to be able to assist the boatmen any time, day or night. A bit later, this building was an office building for the brickyard of William Mansfield of Waterford, who went into the brick manufacturing trade about 1898. At some point, a second story was added to the wing on the left. Today, this is a two-family home with a river view and water access to the Mohawk River. In this photograph, from about 1884, we see Joshua Anthony, his wife Mary, and their daughter Sila. Joshua Anthony owned and operated a baking powder factory and spice mill from 1869 to 1920. Mr. Anthony was a prominent local businessman who was also instrumental in bringing the railroad and the telegraph to the area, and he was a cousin of Susan B. Anthony. This house, built in 1835, and several outbuildings remain today at the intersection of Farm to Market Road and Anthony Lane. Unfortunately, we have no early photographs of this lovely house, but Brookwood Manor, located on Route 4 and 32, is the restored home of the Peebles family. Thomas Peebles, who came here from Scotland, and his wife Elizabeth bought this property in 1760 and built a home here in 1766. When Thomas Peebles died in 1774, his widow opened it as a tavern. George Washington is recorded as having stayed here in 1783 during the Revolutionary War, while on his way to view the Saratoga battlefield. Thomas and Elizabeth are buried in the Peebles Cemetery on the property. In private hands now, the rear of the house faces onto the Hudson River. Like young George Dow's here, you too can motor through historic Halfmoon. Yesterday is still out there hiding in plain sight. I hope you have enjoyed this little tour. If you have historical photographs of Halfmoon or Clifton Park that you would like to share with the community, please email me, Regina Berry, at rberry@sals.edu. To see more images from the Halfmoon Historians Collection, please go to the library's webpage at www.cphlibrary.org, click on the Research tab, then the Local History page. Scroll down to the Digital Collections and click on Historical Photographs, or simply follow the link at the bottom of this page. Thank you for watching.